Canada's energy sector continues to face setbacks. Investors, of course, having to manage a chill that has settled over the whole space. Seymour Schulich has spent a lot of time and money on the energy sector. You continue to be a believer in the oil and gas patch?
Very much so. I've just initiated a big new investment in Meg Energy. I've got a big investment in Pengrowth. And one of the things that's happened in the oil and gas patch is the government, again, we were dealing with a socialist government, they take and the companies post land that's open. They do a little work, they buy seismic, they think there's something there, they put it up for auction, they have to be the high bidder, they're the high bidder, they get the land, eventually they drill it. Then if they find anything, they pay royalties. Then they pay income tax. The government is collecting rentals. And they also set up a fund for abandonment costs. Mm-hmm. And the companies give them a letter of credit on that. Now, they discovered, much to their amazement, the government made a mistake, which that only happens in this country about every day. And the mistake was they didn't have enough money in this fund. So what they decided to do is they said, well, we're going to put our government reclamation fund ahead of all the creditors.
Right.
Who are the creditors? The creditors are the banks. The banks go absolutely catatonic. They go wild. And they turn everything over to their collection departments. And they're harassing every junior and intermediate oil company out there. And they're trying to pull back as fast as their little legs can carry them.
And it must be hard to raise money, new money.
Oh, you know, nobody will give any nobody wants to put money up. We want to put money up to grow the assets and do the things required to increase their productivity. We don't want to give money to a company to pay banks back. Now, the banks have to be paid back at a cash flow, but they're choking the cash flow that's required to pay them back.
We have a federal system. It is right now seeing east-west tensions, the likes we haven't seen since I was very young. In fact, when this prime minister's father was in power. What do we need to do to repair this, Seymour? Because right now we've got, Quebec opposed to pipelines going west from Alberta. It's a very strange situation.
Look, were I the premier of Alberta, I would say you can take me to court, you can do what you want. I'm not signing another check for another dollar of transfer payments until they want a corridor. Now, he has said something good. He wants to put corridors across the country. Energy is a provincial affair. What the federal government is doing in there, I don't understand. I don't understand how you can have 17 court decisions in favor of something, and the last judge decides you didn't do enough to protect the orca whales, so we're going to stop the development.
But if it's a provincial affair, it's also a BC provincial affair. Don't we need the federal government to step in and rule over
Absolutely.
all the provinces?
You know, you need to have a friendly government. Look at what's happened in the United States, how they've opened up their energy industry and how they've struck down the choking regulations. They're not enslaving themselves. Not only that, we're enslaving ourselves to opinions that are being financed offshore by foundations in the United States. And these are a minority of people that are destroying our society. And we're letting them, if we're not careful, it's time, man, for me to pull out. I can't get by all the mics you got on me here. I can pull out. This is what's going to happen in the Canadian dollar. I'm giving I had to pay $200 million to get on this show, and I'm paying
We don't charge our guests anything. If we did, it wouldn't be this. This is 200 million Zimbabwean dollars.
Yeah, well, I said 200 million. I didn't say where the dollars were coming from. That buys, in its time, it bought about a loaf of bread, if you were lucky.
Yeah.
And the same thing's going to happen here if we don't smarten up.
You think we're in danger of damaging our economy?
Look, the dollar is now, here's another topic that gets me. People talk about a 53% marginal tax rate. anybody that's a professional has a marginal tax rate of 72%. If you're going to spend the money you make, which you have to do to live in this city, and you add up the HST, the PST, your real estate taxes, your fees, your gas taxes, and I've had it done by Fraser, the Fraser Institute, the number is 72%.
Yeah.
That's what you're paying. And when you go to the United States, you know, you have a 75-cent dollar, that takes another 8 cents. You've got 20 cents left to spend in the United States if you want to get away from our lovely weather up here in the wintertime. So what have we done to ourselves in this country? We've decimated our currency. We've raised our tax rates. Now they're talking pharmacare in this country. Where's the money going to come from for pharmacare?
I think you know the answer to that.
Yeah, people think the politicians are going to supply it. They're dreaming.
All right, we've only got a minute here. You're talking about an end game where new technology makes fossil fuels obsolete. You're talking about a situation where there is a chill. The government hasn't quite figured out how to keep investors happy in the oil patch. What's your horizon on investing there? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years?
Oh, I'm very optimistic. I think the election of Jason Kenney in Alberta is going to change things. I think the risk is if you keep pushing on them, they just might separate. Let me ask you, let's close with a question.
Yeah.
How would Donald Trump react if he could snatch Saskatchewan and Alberta out of this country?
I'll be standing at the border with a pitchfork to keep him from doing it, Seymour.
Well, you could stand at the border, but unfortunately, I don't think if those two provinces voted to separate and then they decided to join the United States, I don't think we're a violent people here. I'd like to think we're not.
We're not.
You know, it would be a disaster, and
Seymour.
I'm here basically because I'm worried about that.
Seymour,
Yeah, I had to pay $200 million to get here,
Seymour
but-
Schulich, thank you for being here.